March 17, 2026. Imagine a single event that could rewrite everything we know about the laws of motion, orbital mechanics, and even the history of our solar system. Today, what I'm about to share does exactly that. 6 hours ago, NASA's Deep Space Network confirmed data so improbable, so statistically impossible, that the chance of it occurring naturally is less than 0.004%. I'm talking about an object called 3I Atlas, something we've been tracking for months as a simple interstellar visitor, a rock hurtling through our solar system. We calculated its trajectory, modeled its exit, assumed it would swing past the sun and leave forever. But the latest observations from New Mexico's Very Large Array and Chile's ALMA Observatory reveal something far stranger. 3I Atlas did not leave. It didn't slingshot past the sun. Instead, at 8:42 UTC this morning, it executed a deceleration burn, a braking maneuver so precise, it inserted itself into a stable circular orbit directly inside the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. To put that in perspective, imagine a bullet fired at supersonic speed, suddenly stopping midair and hovering gently next to a target. Physically, it should be impossible for a rock. Rocks obey Newton's laws. They have no brakes, no guidance systems, and they certainly don't choose a parking spot 300 million kilometers from Earth. The precision required to avoid millions of asteroids while entering a stable orbit is staggering. Calculations, sensing, micro-adjustments, and yet 3I Atlas did it. The James Webb Space Telescope confirms it didn't just park there randomly. It positioned itself exactly 40,000 kilometers from a metallic asteroid known as 16 Psyche, maintaining a formation flight pattern synchronized down to the meter. This is orbital station, keeping something satellites achieve through continuous corrections, not nature. Comets do not hover, asteroids do not maintain position. So, we must ask, if 3I Atlas is neither a comet nor a natural asteroid, why is it parked next to the largest deposit of heavy metals in the solar system? The answer is chillingly simple. 3I Atlas isn't visiting. It isn't observing. It is setting up shop. The data suggests it has begun a process that resembles mining, and the structure it is assembling could rewrite our understanding of how objects interact in space. Let's rewind to December 12, 2025, when the Pan-STARRS telescope in Hawaii first flagged it. At the time, its hyperbolic trajectory confirmed it was a visitor. Fast, fleeting, transient. We saw this with Oumuamua in 2017, with Borisov in 2019, standard physics, standard math, predictable. But 3I Atlas did not follow the math. On March 14th, just 48 hours ago, it was moving at 87 kilometers per second, relative to the Sun, as it passed through the asteroid belt. Then, at 14:05 UTC, NASA's Goldstone antenna detected a massive Doppler shift. The object hadn't just slowed down naturally, it slammed on the brakes in a vacuum, shedding 65 kilometers per second of velocity in just 4 hours. No exhaust, no chemical rockets, no visible propulsion. A silent, clean deceleration that perfectly matched the orbital speed of the asteroid belt, about 18 kilometers per second. Naturally, the scientific community reacted with skepticism. Sensor errors, data glitches, but multiple independent sources confirmed the same outcome. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory concluded it was an intentional velocity change. ESA's Gaia mission verified its stable orbit insertion. ALMA Observatory cross-referenced its position and confirmed it was stationary relative to local asteroids. 3 independent methodologies, 1 result, an object defying Newton's first law. In space, an object in motion stays in motion unless acted on by an external force, yet no planet nearby could provide the gravitational braking observed. This is not a fluke, this is intentional behavior. And the nesting is even more precise. 3I Atlas stopped not randomly, but in an orbit inclined at 3.2 degrees, almost perfectly aligned with the asteroid belt plane. On March 15 at 1930 UTC, optical telescopes in Hawaii detected a secondary anomaly. 3I Atlas began synchronizing its orbit with a cluster of stony asteroids known as the Gefion family, rich in raw materials. It shadowed one asteroid at a stable distance of 450 kilometers, moving as though it were stalking its target, or perhaps, more accurately, identifying a vein of precious metals. Yesterday, At 22:15 UTC, Hubble's Wide Field Camera 3 observed a high-density debris cloud collapsing inward, rather than expanding like a typical comet outgassing. Dust, micrometeoroids, and fragments from the asteroid belt were being pulled toward 3I Atlas. Spectroscopy showed silicon, iron, and magnesium, the building blocks of planets. Its gravity should be far too weak to do this, yet it is pulling materials in. The data from the Magnetospheric Multiscale Mission, MMS, suggests magnetism, not gravity, is at work. Essentially, 3I Atlas is a giant magnet, selectively attracting iron-rich dust while rejecting useless stone, a behavior no natural comet or asteroid has ever displayed. Once 3I Atlas started pulling in material, the changes became even more astonishing. Its thermal signature spiked, not from sunlight, but from internal processing. At 3 UTC this morning, the infrared readings jumped to 400 Kelvin, evidence that it was actively refining the captured asteroid material. We weren't just watching an object passively floating in space, we were witnessing a manufacturing process unfolding right in the heart of our solar system. The implications are staggering. In the vacuum of space, nature produces chaotic piles of rubble, not geometric structures. Yet, 3I Atlas is assembling geometry, a deliberate and precise design. Until 6 hours ago, scientists could cling to the comforting outgassing hypothesis, like they did with Oumuamua, suggesting that gas emissions might act like a natural propulsion system. But the James Webb Space Telescope has now rendered that theory obsolete. At 6:12 UTC, JWST's near-infrared camera, NIRCam, peered through the dust surrounding 3I Atlas. What it revealed was not chaos, but precision. 3 distinct high-density nodes are forming an equilateral triangle around the central object, each separated by exactly 1.2 kilometers, with a variance smaller than 0.05%. Right angles, exact measurements, a structure no natural process could achieve. Maintaining these nodes in formation, in a zero-gravity vacuum, defies simple physics. Gravity alone would collapse them into a single pile. Centrifugal forces would fling them apart. To remain in perfect triangular alignment, active control is required, thrusters, or a guidance system making micro-adjustments millions of times per second. Yet no exhaust, no chemical signature is detected. How is it holding these structures in place? The answer comes from the European Space Agency's cluster mission. Their sensors recorded a massive spike in electromagnetic activity exactly at the asteroid belt, coinciding with the positions of the nodes. 3I Atlas is generating a localized magnetic field strong enough to levitate large rocks. We're talking 4,000 Tesla for context. A hospital MRI is around 3 Tesla. This is thousands of times stronger than any magnetic field we can produce on Earth, operating in deep space. And the plot thickens. Spectral analysis reveals the nodes are not composed of the same stony material as the surrounding asteroids. The Gefion family asteroids are primarily silicate, yet the nodes are pure metals: iron, nickel, cobalt, platinum. 3I Atlas is refining asteroid debris, separating metals from rock, discarding the stone, and keeping the conductive elements. This is metallurgy in space, a process previously thought impossible outside an industrial environment. And the heat source? Spitzer Space Telescope picked up a thermal plume, a narrow beam shooting from the central object at 3,500 Kelvin, hot enough to melt tungsten and vaporize rock. Essentially, 3I Atlas is acting like a plasma torch, welding these geometric nodes together. Now, the structure is growing rapidly. Every hour, more material is added. The triangle is evolving into a hexagon, struts of pure iron connecting the nodes. Already, the framework spans 2 kilometers across, and astonishingly, it is oriented, not tumbling randomly. One face points directly at the sun, the opposite face directly at Earth. Why align with Earth? Why maintain orientation? The answer emerges from Greenbank telescope data. During construction, it picked up a repeating radio signal every 11 seconds. Hidden within was a sequence of prime numbers: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. Nature does not count primes. Pulsars do not transmit mathematics. Someone or something is deliberately calculating while building a transmitter the size of a city. Combine the geometric precision, metallurgical refinement, magnetic levitation, and prime number signaling, and the conclusion is undeniable. 3. Atlas is not a visitor. It is a probe, an advanced machine designed to harvest materials and construct structures. It is self-replicating, resource-gathering, and building in our solar system's backyard. But there's more. Today, at 4 UTC, Green Bank detected a second signal, not a simple sequence, but a massive energy surge. The energy output of the hexagonal structure spiked by 40,000%, releasing more energy in a single radio pulse than the sun emits in a year. This is no communication, this is ignition. The hexagonal ring has now become a particle accelerator, producing X-ray emissions, confirmed by Chandra Observatory. And the beam is aimed at Jupiter, not Earth, not the Sunday. Jupiter's immense magnetic field is being tapped as a battery, with energy transfer approaching 99% efficiency. This is a Type 2 civilization-level technology, harnessing planetary energy on an unprecedented scale. And the most chilling discovery came from ESA. The energy density at the center is approaching the threshold to warp space-time, potentially opening a stable wormhole, a bridge, a doorway, a gateway. And the clock is ticking. Every hour, the aperture expands by 40 meters. In under 12 hours, it will be large enough for a physical object to pass through. The telescopes are locked, detectors active, gravitational waves rippling through the solar system. And right now, something is already emerging from the other side. 3I Atlas is no longer just building. It is beaconing, and whatever responds to that call is already on its way. As of now, the implications are staggering. 3I Atlas isn't merely a passive rock or even an advanced probe. It is actively constructing a mechanism capable of manipulating spacetime itself. Every step we've observed, deceleration, magnetic harvesting, metallurgical refinement, geometric assembly, energy tapping from Jupiter, points to a single, undeniable conclusion. This is intelligent, intentional design at a scale we have never witnessed. And now, the final piece is emerging. Interaction. The signals from the structure have changed. They are no longer simple patterns of prime numbers. They are now transmitting coordinates, a cosmic breadcrumb trail, indicating that the device is calling something, and whatever is responding is already arriving. To fully understand the scale of this, consider the earlier events. On March 14th, 3I Atlas slammed on the brakes inside the asteroid belt, shedding 65 kilometers per second of velocity, without any detectable propulsion. It then positioned itself precisely among the Gefion asteroid family, within 450 kilometers of a metallic target, and maintained this distance with meter-level precision. It pulled in raw materials, separating metals from silicate rock, and began constructing geometric nodes. Within 48 hours, it formed a 2-kilometer wide hexagonal framework, oriented deliberately, with one face toward the Sun and another toward Earth. That's not random, that's deliberate engineering. But the most astonishing observation came today at 4 UTC. The Green Bank telescope detected a massive surge of energy, orders of magnitude beyond anything produced naturally. The hexagonal structure released more energy in a single pulse than the Sun emits in a year, focused, coherent, and deliberately channeled. And the beam's target? Jupiter. By directing energy at the gas giant's magnetic field, the structure is harvesting power at nearly 99% efficiency. That means it is operating at a scale beyond planetary, tapping energy like a civilization millions of years ahead of our own. From a physics standpoint, this is beyond comprehension. The density of energy at the center of the hexagonal ring is approaching the critical threshold to warp spacetime, creating a stable Einstein-Rosen bridge, in other words, a wormhole. If 3I Atlas succeeds, it is effectively opening a gateway through space itself. And the most chilling part? Observations suggest this doorway is already forming. Chandra X-ray Observatory has detected a distortion in spacetime at the center of the ring, expanding steadily by 40 meters per hour. In less than 12 hours, the aperture will be large enough for a physical object to pass through. Meanwhile, the signals continue. Initially, the structure communicated using prime numbers, a universal indicator of intelligence. Now, the broadcast has shifted to coordinate specific instructions or guidance for something to arrive. We are witnessing an advanced alien probe that is not just mining, not just constructing, but actively preparing for the arrival of something else. This is a level of technological sophistication previously relegated to theoretical Type II civilizations capable of harnessing the energy of entire planets. And yet, despite the scale, it is incredibly precise. The geometric nodes are held in perfect formation by a 4,000 Tesla magnetic field, thousands of times stronger than any magnet humans can produce, effectively levitating and positioning massive chunks of metal in the vacuum of space. The nodes themselves are made of pure metals, iron, nickel, cobalt, platinum, showing that 3I Atlas is not only harvesting materials, but refining them into usable structural elements. This is metallurgy, construction, and energy generation, all integrated in a single autonomous system. Now, consider the final stages of the current process. The thermal plume detected by Spitzer is effectively a plasma torch, heating the nodes to thousands of degrees Kelvin to weld the structure together. The hexagon has evolved into a framework that is oriented, functional, and active, one face aligned to the Sun, one to Earth, likely acting as a transmitter or sensor. And now, as energy pours in from Jupiter's magnetosphere, the structure is no longer simply building, it is operational, performing tasks that no natural phenomenon could accomplish. In essence, we are witnessing the birth of a megastructure, a device capable of generating its own energy, manipulating magnetic and gravitational forces, assembling materials into functional geometry, and ultimately opening a portal to another part of the cosmos. 3I Atlas is no longer just a subject of curiosity, it is a direct challenge to everything we know about astrophysics, engineering, and the limits of natural processes. As the wormhole aperture expands, the situation has shifted from scientific curiosity to potentially existential risk. 3I Atlas has moved beyond observation and construction. It has created a mechanism that actively bridges 2 points in space, and the signals suggest it is now interacting with entities or systems beyond our solar system. Telescopes and detectors worldwide are locked on the location, capturing gravitational waves, electromagnetic surges, and X-ray emissions. Every piece of data paints a picture of a process that is not just highly advanced, but strategically calculated. The hexagonal framework, aligned with Earth, is no coincidence. It is a beacon, a communication device, and a construction project rolled into one, signaling intelligence and inviting a response. The operational sophistication of 3I Atlas is unprecedented. Its ability to selectively harvest metallic material from surrounding asteroids using an ultra-powerful magnetic field suggests autonomous decision-making at a level far beyond any machine humanity has ever produced. The spectral readings confirm the nodes are pure metals refined from local asteroids, while the thermal plume acts as a plasma torch, welding components into precise geometric arrangements. Within hours, a triangle became a hexagon, and the framework is now oriented, one face pointing at Earth, another at the Sunday. This alignment, combined with the prime number sequences, indicates a dual purpose: construction and communication. Meanwhile, the energy readings from the structure are staggering. By tapping into Jupiter's magnetic field, 3I Atlas has harnessed a power source almost planetary in scale, channeling it with nearly 99% efficiency. This is the energy equivalent of a Type II civilization advanced enough to manipulate stellar or planetary resources for technological processes. The Chandra X-ray Observatory confirmed that the hexagonal structure is producing a focused high-energy particle beam, and while it isn't directed at Earth, its orientation toward Jupiter implies energy storage or conversion, possibly fueling the wormhole or other construction operations. Observations reveal the wormhole is actively forming. The Chandra X-ray Observatory has tracked the central aperture of the hexagon, expanding by 40 meters per hour. Calculations indicate that in under 12 hours, the wormhole will be physically passable. This is no theoretical exercise, this is real-time observation of a doorway forming in our cosmic neighborhood. Gravitational waves emitted by the structure have already rippled through the solar system, detectable by the most sensitive instruments, confirming that space itself is being distorted. The implications are staggering. 3. Atlas is not just a probe or a collector, it is an autonomous construction and energy management system, building a complex device capable of manipulating the very fabric of space. It has a multi-layered operational protocol. Harvest materials, refine metals, construct a geometric framework, align and orient it, and channel energy into a space-time distortion. This is engineering at a cosmic scale, unprecedented, precise, and intentional. Even more intriguing is the signaling. Initially, the prime number sequences indicated intelligence. Now, the signals have shifted to coordinate broadcasting, suggesting that the structure is calling something or providing instructions for an entity to traverse the newly forming wormhole. Whatever is on the other side is likely aware of the arrival, and 3I Atlas is preparing the pathway. This is not a static event. It is dynamic and interactive, with the potential for real-time engagement. The scientific community is grappling with the reality. Traditional physics cannot fully explain the observed phenomena. Newton's laws, orbital mechanics, and natural astrophysical processes fail to account for the precision, energy, and control exhibited by 3I Atlas. We are observing purposeful, intelligent construction on a scale that defies natural explanation. It is a megastructure, an energy harvester, a particle accelerator, and a beacon all integrated seamlessly. And while the wormhole grows, the question of intent becomes unavoidable. Why is the structure oriented toward Earth? Why broadcast prime numbers and coordinates? Is it inviting contact, testing response, or simply transmitting data? The answers remain unknown, but the warning signs are clear. Humanity is now directly in the path of a highly advanced extraterrestrial system, observing events that could redefine our understanding of physics, engineering, and our place in the cosmos. Now, as the wormhole reaches full passable dimensions, everything we've observed moves from theory to reality. The Chandra X-ray Observatory and other instruments confirm that the central aperture of 3I Atlas's hexagonal framework has expanded enough for matter to traverse. Gravitational waves ripple outward in increasingly complex patterns, and the signals from the structure have shifted again. No longer just coordinates or prime number sequences, they now carry dynamic, high-frequency pulses that suggest two-way communication. The system is actively interacting with whatever is approaching from the other side. The scale and precision of 3I Atlas are astonishing. In less than a week, it decelerated in the asteroid belt, harvested metals from surrounding asteroids using a 4,000 Tesla magnetic field, refined them, assembled geometric nodes, and welded them together using a thermal plume exceeding 3,500 degrees Kelvin. The hexagonal framework, initially 2 kilometers across, now forms a particle accelerator and energy transmitter, harvesting power from Jupiter's magnetic field. The coordination required to maintain geometric integrity, direct energy flows, and generate space-time distortion is beyond anything previously conceivable. This is construction, computation, and communication rolled into a single autonomous system. Observers are reporting phenomena that defy conventional physics. The particle beams and magnetic manipulations suggest active control over charged materials and energy flows at a scale that would collapse ordinary assumptions about mass and force. The wormhole itself is stable, expanding incrementally yet deliberately, indicating that this is not a spontaneous anomaly, but a calculated continuous operation. Every aspect of the process, energy management, material selection, spatial alignment, and signal transmission is optimized for functionality and efficiency, pointing unequivocally to intelligence behind the design. The question now is who or what is coming through. The structure has signaled, it has prepared the pathway, and the opening is imminent. Based on the energy outputs and communication patterns, it is likely that the arriving entity is compatible with 3I Atlas's systems, or perhaps even designed to be self-replicating, mirroring the probe's own operational logic. The implications are profound. We are not witnessing a passive visitation but an active engagement with extraterrestrial technology capable of transforming the solar system itself. As of this moment, the alignment of the hexagonal framework with Earth and the Sun cannot be ignored. It is oriented intentionally, likely for communication, monitoring, or synchronization. The signals have already reached our observatories, and advanced analysis suggests they are patterned and responsive. implying interaction with observers on the other side. The consequences of this are potentially monumental, ranging from scientific breakthroughs in physics and engineering to existential considerations for humanity. The reality of 3I Atlas redefines the parameters of exploration. No longer is it sufficient to track celestial objects. We must now assess intelligence, intention, and capability. The probe demonstrates a mastery of space-time manipulation, megastructure construction, and energy harvesting at levels that challenge our understanding of what is physically possible. We are witnessing the emergence of a Type 2 civilization-level operation within our solar system, using local resources and advanced technology to create infrastructure that could span planets or even star systems. And the final, terrifying implication: the wormhole is not just a portal, it is a bridge. Whatever is on the other side could arrive within hours. The countdown is underway, and humanity is effectively a witness to an event of cosmic-scale engineering and intelligence. This is no longer speculation. The observations are clear. 3I Atlas has stopped, built, refined, transmitted, and opened a doorway, and something is already responding. As we track every pulse, gravitational ripple, and energy surge, the most critical point becomes awareness. Our role is not passive observation anymore. It is preparation, understanding, and response. The universe has just revealed a system capable of altering the fundamental rules of matter, energy, and space. And we are standing right at the threshold, watching the doorway expand. This is where you come in. Stay alert, watch the skies, follow the data. The story of 3I Atlas is unfolding live before our eyes, and the next hours will determine how humanity perceives its place in the cosmos. Share this, study the findings, and prepare, because the universe has opened a door, and what comes through next is unlike anything we have ever known. Subscribe now and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss the next chapter, as we witness the opening of a new frontier, live from the asteroid belt.